Welcome to Multifamily Grit, where we bring in the experts to share their stories of the celebrations and struggles of one of the most important industries in the U.S., multifamily property management. Kerri sat down with Alison Turner, Senior Vice President of Talent Acquisition at RangeWater Real Estate, where she's redefining what it means to build and retain great teams in today's multifamily landscape. Alison has been with RangeWater for over a decade, joining as employee number 53 and helping scale the company into a nationally recognized name while staying rooted in what matters most: people. Alison's leadership goes far beyond hiring. She's been instrumental in shaping RangeWater's internal structure, building robust performance management protocols, and championing compensation strategies that keep the company both competitive and human-centered. From collaborating with industry peers on workday tools to creating career pathing programs that prioritize internal growth, Alison is focused on developing talent, not just filling roles. Today, we dive into how her team reviews every internal application, why she avoids serial appliers, and how they've built a culture of transparency, growth, and boomerang employees, those who leave and come back stronger. We'll also unpack how RangeWater is navigating today's tight talent pool, the power of always recruiting, and how Alison's passion fuels an internship program that's building the next generation of leaders. This is a conversation about people, purpose, and the future of talent in multifamily. Before we get started, this episode is sponsored by Fortress, the only core property management operating system built with an emphasis for affordable owners and operators. Fortress revolutionizes affordable management with features focused on automating housing assistance charges and payments to keep ledgers clean and accurate, centralizing file reviews and document storage through Fortress and AWS, and a free in-system smart waitlist to ensure your property stays in compliance. And don't forget, if you like what you hear today, please like, subscribe, and share with someone you think would enjoy this episode. Now let's get into it. Here's Kerri Davis sitting down with Alison Turner for a conversation packed with insights on leadership, recruiting, and building the teams that make multifamily thrive. Alison, thank you so much again for being here with me today.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
And before we dig in, before I start asking you all these awesome questions to support that incredible intro for you, would you mind sharing with our listeners how you got your start in the industry?
Of course. And thank you so much for that fabulous introduction, Kerri. I love that. And I will say my path is more of a fell into the industry than planned to be in the industry path, like most people.
Yeah.
So I got started with a degree in hospitality management from the University of South Carolina. Go Gamecocks. And from, graduating college, went straight into hotel management, started out entry level, checking people into hotel rooms with Starwood Hotels. And I quickly moved into a management role at a very young age, and it was very challenging. Lots of customer service related, problem solving with people and their hotel rooms. And we were in a really fast-paced hotel environment right by the Atlanta airport. So we checked in and checked out 500 people a day. And so that gave me a lot of, skills in people and leadership. But I wanted to make a change, and I had an opportunity to follow a passion of mine, which is fashion. So I moved industries over into sales in the Atlanta apparel mart. I worked there for 3 years and expanded a showroom. I tripled their business size while I was there. So had tons of fun and tons of success, but it wasn't a long-term career path for me. So I was at a turning point.
How come?
In my career. Wholesale to retail is more online now. I think that opened up a whole new channel back in 2000, like early 2010s. So that really pivoted, and it is different today than what it was before that, but it's still a great place. It's still in business, but it wasn't a long-term path for me. So I connected with an old hospitality friend that was now in property management, and he was the one that introduced me into the industry and to a job opportunity. So I went and worked with him in a lease up with RangeWater Real Estate. And it was a new development lease up in my first experience, which was great for me because I love fast paced environments and I was ready to go. So when I got to RangeWater, I felt really confident and comfortable with the people part of the job and the customer service and the problem solving. But there was the leasing thing that I was like not fully wrapping my head around. They were just really driving me. I need more leases. I need more leases. How many leases are you going to get? We need this many. And it took me about 6 months for me to really figure everything out, for me to have that moment of understanding why we need you to get 12 leases. So I was in a meeting. Our regional came out to the site, and we were all sitting in the manager's office and talking through how many leases we needed to get. And I was like, can you tell me what our financial story is? Are we making money? Are we profitable? What occupancy do we need to be at to become profitable?
Yeah.
So once that question unfolded, I was able to really put all the puzzle pieces together and understand. So today, when I hear managers and leaders in our industry sharing that financial information with their entire team, including the leasing, including the maintenance team, and really having them fully understand the goals and the why behind the goals, I think that's critical for the team's success. And it was critical for me in my success and also my growth. So I transitioned into an operations role at the corporate office and learned from the smartest people a bunch of Excel skills. And I did a lot of reporting, and I worked across the entire portfolio. I built a lot of relationships, and we were a smaller company. I wore a lot of hats. So I did uniforms for the whole company, and I started recruiting for the whole company, and just finding the next talent out there that we were going to hire, and began seeing tons of growth, and led into a full-time focus in the recruiting and talent acquisition space. So today I have a team of 5, including myself, in talent acquisition, and I'm so proud of where we've come today. We have tons of structure and processes in place that are set us up for, seamless success in hiring.
That's an incredible story. And the fact that you've been at RangeWater for so long now, is that 11 years? Is that right?
Yes.
And that's really where you've made your home and your growth in the multifamily industry. And you mentioned being, quite a bit smaller back then. So you were employee number 53. How big is the company today?
It's about 1,600 employees.
Oh my goodness. What has that felt like growing from 53 to 1,600 employees just over the past 10 years?
Well, I can definitely remember the days, and I look back with all my people that have been here for a long time, and like, remember when we knew everybody. So it was more of a family atmosphere where you do know everybody's name, and you do see people and get together, and you have the opportunity to do things in those smaller groups. And in bigger groups, you don't get those opportunities as often, but we do come together once a year at RangeWater, which is huge. And you are now in these situations where you're seeing faces like, I've never seen you before, I've never met you before, but then you're also in so many situations where you've connected over a video call, Teams, a training, any kind of event. So it is so great to have those in-person experiences. And we just had a conference last week where all of our regionals were in Atlanta with us. So we get those more often, but to bring all the managers in the company together is a huge ordeal and so much fun. And we try to make it purposeful in knowing what they need, and not just having a big party, but also like supplying them with some great tools and information to take back to their teams and take back to their sites to be successful.
Yeah, I love that word, purposeful, with the time when you bring people together, right? We, when I was running Elmington Property Management, we went back and forth on this quite a bit. Is this event a party? Like, is it a reward, or is it training time? Or are we bringing in motivational speakers? Like, what are we doing? Like, what's the purpose of this? And I think at the end of the day, we really ended up saying, like, it needs to be all of those things. It needs to be like a lot of fun and a reward for working so hard. It also needs to be informational and educational while we have everyone there together. And it also needs to be motivating. So, but that's not an easy feat to pull off with that many people in a finite period of time.
Not at all, but we have a great team.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and obviously they're doing something right, because you've been there for 11 years. It's the only like multifamily company you've been with. What has kept you so invested in the company, especially through all the change?
Great question. I love it because it's kept me challenged. I mean, probably every single day. I haven't probably had an easy work day at RangeWater ever, but I love that. I love being challenged. It's also very collaborative. So when you have those challenges, you have so many great, talented, smart people to go to, and I thrive on teamwork. So for me to step across and ask somebody in another department or somebody on my team for help is just so easy and so natural, and such a great environment to do that in. So it keeps you learning. And I heard a panel on the Atlanta Apartment Association yesterday, Market Outlook panel, and our executive managing director of property management was there. And something he said was, we're learning. And some the other leaders up there all said, we're still learning. And some cool guy from PGIM was like, I'm still learning math. I think it's funny because they're obviously highly intelligent people, very awesome, like at finances and things like that. And they're like, no, I'm still learning. So I think that mentality is true here at RangeWater too, for us to always be learning. I think it comes from our leadership, and it's true for every single role here. We want to grow careers, and I've had the opportunity to grow my career here. So I think that's kept me here, but it's really the people that I value the most. And I love my team. I love to have fun at work. I'm able to do that. I feel really comfortable. Every day I come to work, I'm happy. I'm having fun. I'm laughing at the Wi-Fi not working sometimes, technical issues we may have. It's always fun.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's just such a great answer, that you have always felt challenged, which you absolutely love, but that you also are able to truly enjoy coming to work every day. And I just think that's so important. I don't care what it is that I'm doing, like whether I'm running a tech company or like I've actually spent a lot of time in recruiting also, which I loved, or like running large teams or managing third-party fee management clients, which is not easy. Whatever it is, like as long as you get to enjoy it, especially the people that you're coming to work with every day. And I'm with you. I love being challenged. Like there has to be a problem to solve. I don't want to be bored. I don't want the days to drag on. So I think those are all really hallmarks of what sounds like a really great, stable company.
Thank you.
All right. So moving on into those challenges, because let's be really clear, what you do is hard, but it's really hard today. So talent acquisition is in a tough place. And I would say that it's actually in a tough place in many industries, but it is really tough in our industry right now as the multifamily supply continues to grow and we just don't have as many people entering the industry. So what are you seeing? What are the struggles that you're dealing with, and how are you and your team responding?
So you're right about that. It is a struggle out there for all of us. And I think you gotta kind of equate it to similar to like online dating. So
I love this.
A lot of ghosting is happening in these days. So you'll get the candidate, sometimes all the way through the process, and they'll just disappear, which is highly concerning. And you're like, well, I guess I don't want to hire them. So you got to start over. So that always happens. Like, it's very common. It's become more common over time. I don't think if I was, 5 to 7 years ago, I would have maybe seen this happen a couple times a year. Now it's very regular.
Oh my gosh.
So that's, disappointing. It's difficult. So, I think what you do to combat that is really, build meaningful relationships in the candidate process and really build that trust and that understanding of, like, if I call you, are you going to pick up? If we get down the path of offering you this opportunity, can we depend on you to do the job? So really understanding those things when you're identifying the talent is critical. And how do we do that? We have tons of really awesome tools that, we have really great tools to help us screen candidates in more ways than just the traditional phone screen. I love using talent assessments. I love using the video interview tool. There's some that are one-way video interviews. We've opted to have a pre-recorded question asked by the RangeWater team so that the candidate can answer to help them feel more, welcomed into the company and more likely to hopefully answer our questions. And we keep them very basic in the beginning. We know how time sensitive things are with candidates. They don't want to do a long application. They don't want to do a long assessment. So we really do our best to keep things quick and efficient and very, very simple. And we, do a lot of automation with candidate communication so that they are followed up with, they are acknowledged. We have received your application. We have received this. This is the next step. So we're automating as much of that as we can so that we have those touch points with candidates if we're not able to get to them right away. So I think that, the relationship piece and the trust piece is, hard to build in a quick, hire decision process. But I think collaboration is another key to success. You shouldn't make a decision alone. We at RangeWater, our talent acquisition team, partners with our hiring managers. So each role is unique and different and has different needs. And we are there to customize those needs, to listen, to kind of understand exactly what it is that we need for that specific location. And we like to have more than one option too. So I think, really providing multiple options and really weighing out, the benefits and the limitations of each candidate and the role. And, I like to think about logistics a lot when making interview decisions because we are in Atlanta and commutes are crazy. We're based in Atlanta. And so if someone applies for a job in a certain suburb of Atlanta or in the city, do you understand how long you're going to be really driving is like a critical step in the process to understand. And I think it's really critical for that person to physically go to the location that they will be working at to understand what the office looks like, where they'll be parking, where, what team that they'll be working with. So I think that there's so many factors that are so critical in the pre-screening and candidate selection process in order to make the right decision.
Yeah, my gosh, there's so much there that you guys are doing and working on. And I kind of want to dig in, if it's okay, to a couple of them because they're really interesting. So first, you've mentioned this this kind of like digital screening process, right? Where you're actually having the candidates go through like a pre-recorded, I think, type interview. Can you tell me a little bit more about that and how it's structured?
Absolutely. Well, we've used a couple different video platforms, and I love them all. I'm a huge fan. I would highly recommend it for anyone out there that's looking to recruit on a large scale. And what we really, really focus on, kind of step one is really having that, candidate interaction experience and providing that we are RangeWater, introducing yourself and the company to the candidates a little bit. So we have branding on there. We have, access to our website so that people can we want people to research and do their homework on us before they join the team. So we have a lot of resources. We have a lot of get to know us, we'll get to know you kind of opportunities there. So we love seeing that initiative in candidates. That's a green flag. That's a green check on the candidate process. And we give extra kudos for those candidates that do take the time to do those videos. It means they're really invested. It means that they really want this job and that they took the time to do that. And it shouldn't take too long. We also, they're very entertaining for us recruiters to view and to see, who's out there and learn about people. It's very entertaining. It's kind of like watching, social media or a TV show, it's a reality TV about somebody's life, because they're telling us about themselves. They're telling us about their experience. We do keep it short and sweet. We ask 4 questions, and then at the end we let them, share anything else that they want as an optional, little last closing remark kind of section. And it is linked to our ATS so that whenever somebody does it, it populates through their candidate profile, whether they've done the video or not. So we're able to do that. And we've seen over time, the numbers increase a lot of people that actually do the video interview. So in the beginning, it was very rare that people did it. And I've had really, really good approaches from hiring managers that will, in the screening process, that if a candidate that they're interested in screening, they like their resume, hasn't done the video interview, invite them, give them an extra phone call and say, hey, I would love for you to do this video interview for me as a next step. And kind of give them that extra push of we like you, we want to talk to you more, please do this. So I think that's a really great way to get more insight to the candidate. And that video can be shared with the hiring manager, their manager, and their manager, so that they have that buy-in when that hiring decision is being made. Tell me all the reasons why we should hire this person. Well, look at them. They're great. They did this video interview. This is their resume. This is, they can start this soon. And this is, all those decision-making factors that you want to have as a group and making that group decision. So.
Yeah, that's so great. But I think it's awesome the way that you're using it. But obviously, it's a little controversial, right? Some people aren't doing it, and then I think you've gotten some interesting responses back about it.
Yeah, some people get offended by the fact that we're asking them to be on video. So it always makes us laugh in the day when those emails come through. But of course, we answer them professionally, letting them know you're not required to do that. But sometimes people get a little violent, and they feel that they could be discriminated against. So we promise that's not the case. We are following protocol and policy, and making sure that our processes are very, friendly to all and inviting to all applicants. And, video interview is completely optional. So not required. But like I said, from a recruiter's standpoint, when we see those people that have invested that time and energy, we give them a lot of credit. And they don't have to have perfect responses or perfect lighting or perfect anything. But if they can, carry on a conversation and talk to you about their experience, I think that gives them a lot of points in the recruiting process.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love that. And I want to keep digging in, because I think that some of the things that you're doing are just really awesome and could be used as guidance for a lot of groups out there that are struggling with this right now. So you mentioned utilizing assessments as well. What types of assessments are you using, and how are you using them?
So we love assessments at RangeWater. I think back in the history of the old days, there is an assessment that was only given to kind of a higher level of role. And it was very strenuous. It was a very challenging kind of SAT type of
Oh my goodness.
Yes. So very verbal, analytical, cognitive-based questions, but also a lot of personality-based questions to kind of identify your traits and your personality as well as your cognitive abilities. But that's no longer done at RangeWater. So we went to
no more SATs for the executive team.
Yeah,
That's a
people
relief.
got pretty nervous about that one,
Yeah.
I have to say. And that one I never did take, so I don't have firsthand experience on that. But I've tested out several of the personality tests. We've always looked at Enneagram and Myers-Briggs and all that stuff within our training and development courses here at RangeWater, and it is great to identify who you are as a team player so that you can also look at your teammates and say, well, my teammates better at detail and I'm better at ideas, and then we can work together in this way. So we've always, the history of RangeWater, looked at that and talked about that in our group activities and trainings and things like that. But today, where we're at, I'm really proud of the assessments that we've used, and we have come up with 3 customized assessments that RangeWater has developed. One is for the maintenance team, so we love to see where they are with their knowledge, with their certifications. If they're not certified, we have the ability to proctor certifications in-house. So we like to use those assessments as a starting point. So they're not decision makers in hiring decisions, but they're starting points for us to understand, take that to our talent management, our operations team, and be like, hey, look, this is, who we're hiring here. And they know the HVAC side great, but they need help on the plumbing. So let's get them enrolled in the next plumbing course that we have. We've also done a financial assessment. So it's very variance-based questions that you would expect there to just get them do some calculations in math and see what they come up with. And we love that, to just understand where they are as a starting point in their journey at RangeWater. And then we use some personality and cognitive-based assessments as well for anybody that's kind of in that manager level and above. We like to practice using those on all those levels so that we have more data there to use and to understand and to even build benchmarks around certain roles. So we have done that. We have 3 benchmarks built out at RangeWater. So we have a regional manager benchmark, a community manager benchmark, and development manager benchmark. So we're able to, for those specific roles, use those benchmarks of what a successful RangeWater team member kind of fell into on their traits and their categories. And it produces a 16-page report. So it gives us a lot of information. It also gives us interview questions, which is really great to really dig a little bit deeper. So I think it's great to have those assessment results prior to the big interview so that you really are able to dig in and have some knowledge on your candidate prior to meeting with them. And we want to reduce our candidates' amount of time spent interviewing, because we know that process can drag on, and you didn't meet Steve yet and you got to come back, and you want to really be efficient with everybody's time and mindful. So I think having that tool just sets you up for saving time.
That's so interesting. Now, at Elmington and at Fortress, we have used a lot of roles-based assessments. So very much so in line with your maintenance assessment and your financials literacy assessment, those sorts of things. But we've really always struggled, and I think eventually landed on not doing personality-based assessments, because it's really tough to understand exactly what you want. I think it's just can be difficult. So I love the fact that you're utilizing all this data and you're creating these benchmarks. How can you describe that process a little bit? Because I have a feeling our listeners are probably sitting here thinking, what do you even mean by a benchmark for a regional manager? What does that even mean?
Yeah, definitely. So we like to tell candidates too up front, this is an assessment. We want you to take it. We want to get to know you better in the recruiting process. And we ask them, are you comfortable taking it? And everybody's like, yeah, sure, absolutely. We want a job. We want to work for RangeWater. We're like, great. So we get them set up, and when the results come in, it's that 16-page report, and it really it shows you kind of that bell curve of the average population. And are you more extroverted or introverted? So that's one of the basics, right? And so it shows you where you sit on that bell curve of, average pop being in the middle and more one way or the other. And there's the big 5 personality traits that it goes through on one page. And then it goes through a page, the chart that I like. That's where the benchmarks lie in that chart. It gives you a similarity index score out of 100 points. More like 100 being you are aligned with this role. And it also provides, like on the extroverted introverted scale, it gives you a blue line where most successful regional managers would lay, and then the orange dot's the candidate. So that's how you read the graph, which is a really important page of the results that you should probably spend the most time analyzing and understanding. They're within the benchmark on these, but hey, they fall a little bit outside on team-oriented versus solidarity. So you kind of want to look at those and be like, what does the team dynamic look like here? Who are they reporting to? And you kind of weigh those things out, and then you're able to dig deeper into those follow-up questions to be like, hey, tell me about a situation where you had to do a project alone. And I know Alison likes working in a team, but can she do anything by herself? I don't know. So you want to find that out in the interview. Or there's like detail oriented is a big thing that we look for, a big quality we look for in community and regional managers. We want them to be detailed. We want them to see the numbers if they're off, and we want them to be, quick at that. But are they too detailed? Yeah. Can they make decisions quickly? Kind of where they fall on those things. And so it's so interesting, and it's not a decision maker, and any personality will be a great fit at RangeWater. Really, it's not a choice of like, oh, we only choose people that are extroverts at RangeWater. Not at all. We want a good balance of people in our company, and we know that balance helps that collaboration a lot. So I think just understanding who that person is better in the process is really where we focus on those assessments.
So what's interesting, though, is that it's not just about the assessment of the candidate, right? It's that you had to gather the data and come up with the benchmark from your current employees, and essentially differentiating between those that are successful at RangeWater and those aren't, and then leveraging their baseline scores to create this benchmark. Is that right?
Correct.
How did you guys go about doing that? How did you kind of backtrack and say, like, here's the successful team members and here's their data so that now we can create a benchmark for these roles?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think we've had a lot of success over our growth at RangeWater. So we look at those people that had a heavy hand in that and have truly built their career too. So we look at people that have been promoted, leasing, ACM, CM, RM. Okay, those people are on a trajectory. Like those people have just continued. So we look at those types of things, and we also look at operational efficiencies. We do measure KPIs at RangeWater. So we have some data there and stats of, who's successful in that way. We have awards and recognition. We have performance management tools. So we have a lot of tools at our fingertips that we have built over time to understand who our top performers are. So we're able to find those superstars for our benchmarks.
That's incredible. That takes so much, honestly, like time and intentionality to create that. But I can imagine it's been wildly successful for you guys.
Definitely. I love it. And I think the longer we use it and the more we learn from it and the more abilities we have for it, such as like career pathing, it does give you advice for where you fall short. For me, I'm more expedient than conscientious. So they're like, hey, read this book, Allison. It's going to help you become more conscientious. And I love that because it just puts those resources at your fingertips too. So we still have a long ways to go with what our assessment tools can do for us at RangeWater and helping us develop skills that are not natural to us and continue our career paths.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that focus on the whole human and that person's success. So during our introduction, though, I used a couple of interesting words or phrases that I had not heard before. And I'd love to ask you about those. So we'll start with a boomeranger. What exactly is that?
Yay. Yes, I'm so excited about boomerangers. It became really official when like somebody posted it on LinkedIn that had left RangeWater, had worked with us before and left for whatever reason. Real estate comes in and out, properties transition in and out, and that's most likely the case there, that they transitioned to another client or management group when the property moved on from RangeWater. And we get a lot of people wanting to come back. They're like, hey, like we left, we want to come back. And right now we have the pleasure of onboarding so many prior RangeWater team members, and we do call them boomerangers. So we have a lot of little fun terminology when we changed our name in 2020 to RangeWater Real Estate. We've developed quite the fun branding and words. We call our team members Rangers when we address them in internal company emails and things like that. And there's a lot of like camping and mountains and valleys and beautiful landscapes in our branding. So we are very outdoorsy and adventurous, and we're up for the challenge.
Oh, I love it. That is so fun. And then another term, I want to make sure, serial appliers.
Yes.
Who are they?
So serial appliers are people that apply for not 1 or 2 or 3 jobs, but probably like 20 jobs at one time. So we do see these quite often, and I take it as a compliment. Hey, they really want to, join the team, and hey, let's give them a look and, see, where they may fit in and where we have opportunity that aligns with them and their skills and their location. So we do take a look, but we also, see some red flags when that is the case, because if a candidate's applying in Colorado and Florida at the same time, we're like, what's going on here? This is a questionable situation. So that's definitely the case, and we do audit very frequently. You also talked about the internal applications, so we do make sure like those are our priorities, our RangeWater team members, that we are taking a look at what they apply for, what growth opportunities we may have for them on a weekly basis. We're looking at that, we're checking in, we're touching base with them, letting them know like, hey, this opportunity is available, let's set you up to meet the hiring team. And we made sure we put some protocols and processes into place to make sure that their manager is aware that they're applying for that role and that they are advocating for them to get that role, so that they are saying this employee is in good standing. They, have my blessing to continue in another role with RangeWater. So I'm glad that we have that piece of the puzzle in place, so that we don't have to have uncomfortable conversations when we're like, oh, we're moving this person. So we do that a lot, and we try to, keep a really good pulse on, the prioritization of the candidates, right? So it's like internals our first top priority, and those hard roles that we need extra support on, extra hands on. We look at those. We look at jobs that need sponsorship, that need to get boosted. We look at jobs that need to be cleaned up, closed, no longer available. So we're really just keeping things as accurate as possible out there in the job board world. And we want to be, timely, and we want to be, we don't want to waste anybody's time.
Yeah. And it goes back to your philosophy of developing talent, not just filling roles, right? And if there are people who are currently at RangeWater who want that opportunity to progress and grow, that's not always the easiest thing. It's not always easy to take someone, out of a community manager role where they're doing a fantastic job and the client is very happy with them and everyone's happy with what's happening there, and then promote them into a regional manager role. But it's so important that we're doing those things and that we're setting up the right process and structure in place to allow those things to happen in a healthy way.
Absolutely. I love seeing someone promoted, but yeah, all the puzzle pieces have to fit together, and the client's a big piece of that too. We can't just move people around left and right and get a good community manager off of their asset when they are needed. They are needed in their place that they currently are. So it's timing is really important, and we like to have proactive conversations with employees that are, have been in the community manager for a long time and are interviewing for, are ready to take that step into the regional. We do promote a lot from community manager to regional. That's a really strong path for us at RangeWater. We've been really successful with that. So we always have to consider the client and the timing, and also, is this person ready? Are we going to set them up for success? Who would they be best under? And we also look at portfolios, and we look at product type and client. We look at a lot of things to make someone successful in their promotable regional seat. And sometimes we get we're lucky and we have a little bit more time. Like, hey, you can start with a smaller portfolio of 4 to 6, and you can grow into it. And then when you're ready, we're gonna beef you up with a larger, more assets, more clients. And then sometimes we're like, oh, you got a full load. And typically a full load at RangeWater is 8, because we are third party and we do have multiple clients on one regional.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I've seen that number around a lot, I think, as property management companies are growing and learning, and they're realizing that like 10 to 12 is almost impossible. And honestly, a lot of times it doesn't matter if that asset is like 100 units or 500 units. In fact, sometimes the 500 unit deals could actually be even easier to lead as a regional, because a lot of times from a payroll perspective, you're able to hire like a higher level manager to run it. And so it involves a little bit less work for you. But I think 8's a really healthy number. But as you guys are, growing, as you're developing that talent, as these team members are taking these promotions and moving up the chain, which is so incredible, you've obviously got to worry about the backfill. And it seems like a lot of that for you is starting with the internship program that you saw it on your face, that you are very passionate about. So I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about that.
Great. Yes, I love our internship program. We've been, going to universities and any kind of events. I mean, we customize our own pop-up events frequently as well, which are highly successful. We partner with other people to do events, but having that long-term connection to the universities has been a really big success for us, because it targets those students that they do know they want to get into property management and real estate early on, and they're studying it. They're already getting a lot of exposure to fair housing and leasing strategies and property management law. And we just really hold a lot of value in spending our time with those students long term. It's not a short term, like, hey, I'm here today, I'm going to hire you tomorrow. That's not the case with the universities. It's a long-term partnership. I've seen students over the course of, freshman and senior year and, going through internships and then coming out into the real world and getting their first real adult job. So I think that that's critical, is to have those long-term university relationships and really partnering with those classrooms. I think not just that the career fairs is like a whirlwind where you're like meeting, and like, all right, I collected 80 resumes, but like, what's going to come of this? And There's also digital tools that you can use to capture those resumes electronically instead of carrying around all those resumes. So I like to use that, put them right in the system, but also I think, the internship program, it has allowed us to convert those interns to full-time hires very quickly. We've had a really good success rate of doing that. And sometimes, we don't have a lot of policies around our internship program. So I get a lot of creativity with our internship program, and I get to try different things like every summer. So I met somebody at a career fair that was interested in maintenance. And I said, let's try it out, a maintenance intern. And so we did that last summer.
Oh, wow.
And he worked as kind of did some groundskeeper duties and started learning a lot of tech responsibilities. And he stayed working with us through his senior year of college as a technician, and even got a couple of certifications along the way. So those are true success stories for people that are able to, either continue working through college or graduate. So like I said, I get a lot of flexibility. So there's people that have graduated college that don't have a job yet, but they do want it. They need that experience. So we've had those fresh graduates also intern with us. And we don't say, oh, we don't accept freshmen, we don't accept sophomores. We've had people intern with us 2 summers in a row in different areas of our business, which was really awesome for them. Yeah. And they ended up graduating, working on site in a leasing role, getting promoted to an assistant manager role, then coming to work at our corporate office in the IT space. So it's just, all the doors that it opens for you to just have that exposure in an internship is so valuable. And like I said, we get to be really creative. I've had accounting interns. I've had interior design interns. I've had MBA development interns. I've had construction. We do property management. We do marketing. So we look at our leaders in the organization and see like who has capacity to manage an intern, who needs an intern, who wants an intern. So there's all kinds of cool projects that they get exposed to. And they do a project at the end of the summer. And this last group, we only had 5 interns, but they were a really strong 5 interns that presented such a great, impressive presentations to our entire corporate office. There was 99 people that attended that meeting.
Wow.
Either like virtually and in person. And they were just so impressive with what they had done over, a 2-month period. And we're staying in touch. We're keeping those relationships. When I go out to their colleges, I am having lunch with them. I am enjoying their company and also, continuing that relationship. And if I can't help them get a job here at RangeWater, I definitely want them to be successful in their career. And I love that relationship that we develop over time. And you never know, if they go work somewhere else, they'll probably want to come back. Or they want to range back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Alison, I love it. I really love the passion that you have around this. And obviously a huge part of that is fostered by the the lack of structure for it. So you have so much creativity in what you can do. And that's incredible. I actually made a few notes. So we have a pretty robust internship program, but there's a few things you guys are doing that are really cool. So I'm going to take some of those away as ideas. I think that's really incredible. And I love the story of, making sure that you're constantly developing your talent internally, and that the only way to do that is to ensure that you're, creating that talent from the ground up. And I absolutely love the idea of having them doing a presentation at the end where they have to put it on in front of everybody. I think that's incredible.
Yes.
Well, Alison, this has been an amazing conversation. I cannot believe the past hour has flown by, and now I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to get to my final 2 questions. This has been an amazing conversation, and I'm looking forward to your answers on both of these. So I will start with the first one, which is, can you share a story about your time in multifamily with our listeners?
Sure. Yeah. I think that it kind of ties into how I really developed the internship program. Is I got a unique experience probably 5 or 6 years ago, prior to the pandemic, And I think I've done a couple of these. So I've done like what we just kind of invented. We have a lot of deals coming in, and we're going to need a bunch of people. And we're projecting this. We're trying to be proactive. So, hey, let's hire a group of entry level, like green leasing people, and let's get them trained up. And then once May hits, we're going to have plenty of openings for them. So I think I started with a small group of 5, and I've done this class probably about 3 or 4 times, and it's a huge success as well. And I like to see the people come in green, no experience, spend a week at the home office, and just have that time before rushing off on site and trying to click all the buttons and do all the trainings, giving them that space in a conference room with another group of new hires that is starting out. And I love doing this because it's fun. You're just, kind of got your new babies that you get to bring in, and you get to know them. You get to, have lunch together and really, spend that quality time together. But you also are just guiding them along and in the right way, because how frustrating is it when you've hired a great person that has so much potential, but they don't, they aren't set up for success. So hosting this class really allowed us the time that we needed to get those green people really invested and set up with all the tools and the training and the, have you completed you haven't completed your software training, you can't get credentials yet, and all that, knocking all that out. And also having our experts come in. So having our marketing team come in and like, this is how we do marketing, and this is what's expected of you.
Yeah.
And having our IT team come in. They're awesome. They really, not just, okay, I clicked all the buttons I needed to for my software training, now give me credentials. No, they're actually like, hey, this is cool, and let me show you how to do this. And so having those experts come in and really give those new hires that, set up for success, I felt like, it was great for them. It was great for us. And I got to just, be a host, be a mom, be a leader for those people. And then I got to help place them. I got to see them in action. I got to see more of their talents and strengths. And I got to identify, what the needs were in those open seats that we had, and say, okay, this person needs to go here, and they'll be successful under this manager because they're really going to do this, and I've seen a lot of those people are, probably like 7 years ago are still with the company today that went through that class.
Yeah.
So that really set me up for a unique experience. I don't think many companies do things like that. And I think that's what's special about RangeWater too, is that we do things like that, and we make the time to, say, let's invest in this group of new hires. I'm really passionate about giving people a chance that don't have industry experience.
Yeah.
At some point, nobody had industry experience.
Yep.
So everybody, had to get it somewhere. So why not start, with us and set you up for a really great path, and give you all the tools that you need, and get all that, all that administrative stuff out of the way that it has to be done at any new job.
Yeah. Well, and I love the way it brings it full circle, right? Like you started this conversation by saying, one of the things that you loved the most about, when you first got into the industry, it was hard for it to click, right? They just kept telling you to get more leases, and you didn't understand why, and the really how multifamily worked, and like the background of it all, and why you were so focused on that. And so it comes full circle that like that's what you now love having the opportunity to do, is like bring these people in who don't have that experience, and essentially give them access to everything. Like you've completely opened the curtains for them and given them access to the marketing team and the IT team and the sales teams, and shown them, exactly how and why you do what you do, which I just think is really incredible. It's just like, that's so full circle. So I think that's awesome. That's a great story. And I took a note on that one too, because I think that's a great thing for people to do, is bring in, pre-hiring these green leasing classes. I think is absolutely brilliant. Okay, so one last question. We've got time for it, so I'm gonna ask you this one, and then I promise I'll let you get back to your day because you spent a lot of time with me. I've been so appreciative. But is there a book that you'd like to recommend to our listeners?
Yes. I am a car commuter. I'm in the car quite a bit. So I do Audible a lot, but Ideal Team Player is great for you if you're having to decide like who to hire, or if you're trying to rethink your, hiring strategy within your organization or your startup or anything like that. So Patrick Lencioni wrote Ideal Team Player. It's old school, but the three things that, he tells you in that book is really the candidates you want to look for are hungry, humble, and smart. So I do focus on that. I come back to that a lot when I'm looking at candidates, and I'm looking at, who are we going to pick? We've got so many, great choices here to kind of give you those three traits that you really want to look for. So that's the Ideal Team Player. And then one last one is Atomic Habits by James Clear. So, yep. We shared this book with our interns this summer, and it's something that, from my sports background, I think it's great to build those routines and habits. And the excuse is always like, I don't have time. So that book helps you understand, like, you do have time, and it is what you prioritize and how you make those little tiny habits start to make, bigger shifts in your life. So I think that's a really big eye opener, a game changer.
Yeah. Oh, two fantastic books. I actually have not read Ideal Team Player before, but I'm a huge Patrick Lencioni fan. So I love the way his books are like parables. So they're like fun and easy to read. So such a great recommendation. I'm actually going to pick that one up. But yes, Atomic Habits, so good. Such great book recommendations. And honestly, Alison, such a great conversation. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this and share your expertise and your experiences with our listeners. I'm a huge fan of the people first mantra in every company I've ever been at. It's always been people first. Number two has changed from time to time. Today it's policy, but or procedure. Sorry, it's more procedure, but always people number one. And so I think your job is one of the absolute most important at any company, is managing that talent pool and those teams. So thank you so much for being here today and sharing your experience and your wisdom with our listeners.
Absolutely. I enjoyed it, and thank you for having me.